Hey, Alison.
Hey, Marion.
How are you?
I am wonderful, actually. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've already had a moment acknowledging how cool your backdrop is. Very impressive. Do you have like spots pinned for where you want to go?
No, but I think that that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
I thought first I had my back to the window, and then I was like, oh, that map is going to make me look smarter.
Yeah, it does.
Little,
It also looks a
little,
little bit like a chalkboard. So it's like,
oh, yes, even smarter.
well, making you look smart is not challenging, Allison, because you are
Wow.
just so incredible. And everyone, this is Alison Burke, founder of Simply Sublime and Align Yoga Hamptons. That's two businesses that this incredible woman has founded. And I'm so excited that she's here. Allison, welcome. Thank you for doing this. It's really an
Thank you for
honor.
having me. And congrats for your efforts. I mean, it's no small feat to start a podcast. So
Thanks.
congrats.
Thanks. Like, this is really fun. And as somebody pointed out to me a few episodes ago, I'm clearly doing this just so I can connect with people that I love and crazy about and admire. So awesome stuff. How about if I just jump in and read the bio that you so thoughtfully submitted? Would that be okay with you?
Sure thing.
All right, so let's do it. I'm gonna right over here. Okay, this is from Allison's own words, and I just love this so much. Okay, Allison says she was born and raised in Montauk, New York. I developed a deep love for yoga, fitness, and wellness from a young age. Life has brought me its shares of ups and downs, but through it all, I have stayed connected to the beach and the unique beauty of our little town. Inspired by this community and a passion for healthy living, I founded Simply Sublime, and later Align Yoga Hamptons, creating spaces where people can come together to move, heal, and thrive. So powerful. I just want to quickly share, before we dive in, for people who aren't familiar with Montauk in the way that you certainly are, and the way that we are. Montauk is, portrayed as this resort town, so the stars and all that, the Hamptons and that whole thing. But living there is quite a different reality, I think, could you say, than what is like seen on TV?
Absolutely. And I think because I'm not in my 20s anymore, I grew up in Montauk 40 years ago. So it has changed so drastically since I was a kid. Montauk was the unhamptons of the Hamptons. And then maybe, gosh, I don't know what year, like early 2000s, I would say, when surfer chic became so cool,
Right.
and the surf lodge and all of that, then things really started to change. And that, I think, is what gets portrayed now more so kind of to mainstream media, or what people are posting on social media. And it's so far from the way that I was raised.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you were growing up, I mean, it was like small town, right? Like small town on the water. Does that sound right?
We had, I mean, if anything, we were open from June until Labor Day. We had maybe an arcade, a movie theater that was open during that time. Not much else to do out there. My graduating class in 8th grade, I think, was 28 kids. So it was real small town vibes. I couldn't go to the post office without bumping into
Right.
my cousin Karen or Aunt Barbara, and in a lovely way. Everybody knew your business, and it's just very, very different.
So when did you start Simply Sublime?
I started Simply Sublime. Oh my goodness, what year was that? I want to say in 2011. I had a series of hiccups in my life, a lot of hiccups in my life. I had been married to a man that I met in Montauk school. We were elementary school sweethearts, for realistically, and lack of a better term. And we had kids when we were young. We started a construction company when we were children. When I think about it in hindsight, we were 23 years old. I had 2 kids. we went from living off of my bartender salary to, oh gosh, making a ton of money. We bought a house in Southampton Village. We bought a 5,000 square foot mansion basically in Watermill. We were children. We were 23 years old. And if you can't manage $100, you can't manage $100,000 or $500,000. And we did not manage anything well.
But like, where did that, I have to just ask quickly, because I'm so curious. At such a young age, where did the, I don't know, polite way of saying this, but the cojones come from to just start a business on your own? I mean, I know you did it with your then husband, but like that, not everybody has that sort of, get to it energy. Where does that come from?
That's actually a really great question for me to reflect on, because I don't think that without him, I would have had the guts to do anything like that. I was kind of along for the ride, and I was the back end of things, right? I can always figure everything out. I had no business skills whatsoever, but I wasn't afraid to ask, and I wasn't afraid to really like get in there and do the research and talk to the accountant and do all of that aspect of it. And I think that becoming successful, I mean, which was eventually, we lost everything. So it was a quick blip of success at such a young age. But I think that gave me a lot of inspiration and cojones, I guess, to move forward, right? to do other things as I got older. And also, necessity is the mother of invention kind of a thing. After I got divorced, we lost everything. I mean, we were like millions of dollars in debt. I mean, it was crazy. We had 20 something employees working for us. And when we got divorced and things fell apart, I had to rebuild my whole life. And I had nothing. I mean, nothing, like 2 kids, not a dollar. And my sisters and I found they were kind of in a similar situation in their life. Maybe they hadn't like lit a match and burned down everything behind them in the fashion that I did. But we all were starting from this place of like, what next? And I always had a passion for health and for cooking delicious food and feeding people. I love to feed people. And I always found myself driving from East Hampton, I lived in East Hampton at the time, to Provisions in Sag Harbor. And I was like, there has to be a better way. There has to be.
Right, because Provisions was like, sorry to interrupt, but that was the only natural food place out here, right? Yeah.
Yep. And I really believed in the importance of organic food, as I still do, even more so now. And we opened up this little organic market in Springs, and everybody said we were crazy. They were like, it was a very progressive thought for Springs at that time. And we did it. And it took a while, and it took a lot of hard work, hours and hours and hours. But we built an amazing community, and still to this day, people will shoot me a text randomly like, oh my gosh, if only I could have that smoothie right now, or I would do anything for those gluten-free brownies. Like we made a mark. And,
you really did. Yeah, I need like people to understand, because I don't know if when Alison says people were thinking that you were crazy, the Springs is sort of the working class area. I mean, it's slowly changing over time, but it's more the working class area of East Hampton, and there's nothing out in the Springs. I'm actually in the Springs right now. This is where I live. So there's nothing, there was, especially then, nothing here, let alone like an organic place. So when Simply Sublime opened, it was like, it was like the skies opened. It was the best. And I just want to give you a little more credit. It's like the community you built was really big and powerful, and you had a huge following at Simply Sublime. You guys were hosting fasts and cleanses and all sorts of great stuff going on. And I just need to, and I'll stop in a second, but I just want to say, like, okay, rewind. Construction business falls apart. You're millions of dollars in debt. You're divorced. I imagine your ex-husband wasn't, like, he was also in debt, right? So it's just this mess of debt. How did you get it together to open Simply Sublime? Like, literally, how did you do it?
Well, I glossed over kind of important part of the story.
Okay.
And I had gotten addicted to drugs when I was in my mid 20s, I would say. So that was when all of this chaos was going on. And then I went to rehab, and it was all of that stuff all together. My ex-husband and I were divorcing, and yeah, I got sober, and I had been a bartender before that. So no more construction company. What do? I didn't have a college degree. I didn't have much of anything except for my experience. And I was like, am I going to go put myself from the pan straight back into the fire?
Right.
I also didn't say earlier, I grew up in a bar in Montauk, and for as great and memorable as that is, I didn't want that for my kids. I really did not want that for my children or for my family. And so the health food store was like the 180 from that. But my kids grew up with their mother being like, which organic chicken nuggets do you want for dinner? You know what I mean? Rather than I took the school bus to a bar after school because I didn't have a babysitter. So
Right.
very different. And it's such a gift. Like, all the struggle, all of the effort is such a gift.
Wow. How old were they when you were running Simply Sublime?
Oh man, they were little. They were probably 5 and 7, I would say. And I did eventually, because this is crazy if anybody knows anything about opening a food business or a business, particularly in the Hamptons in general. We each put $15,000, and we started that business with nothing. And
That's insane.
my sister and I, insane. It's insane. Like, I don't, again, talk about cojones. Like, I don't know where we got we were like, we're just doing it. And I think also when you have nothing else, right? That's that idea that necessity, mother of invention, or the mother of these cojones, which is the ongoing
New title for today's episode.
Exactly. But I taught yoga back in those days also. And I taught a private client right down the road from the house. So the kids would stay asleep, and I would go, a couple houses down, and I would see a client. I would come back, I would wake the kids up for school, take them to school, go to the store, work all day at the store, pick the kids up, do sports, do dinner. They would go to bed. I would have someone come and watch them. And then I also bartended at night when that's what happens when you start a business with $15,000.
Yeah. And you're sober at this point too. So you're like pulling a Sam at Cheers. And how was that? Was that challenging for you or freeing?
Pretty liberating, but dangerous. Very dangerous, right? Like, it's not, I wouldn't recommend it to people.
And this is still Cyril's? No.
Cyril's, I had left. Where did I work then? I worked in Sag Harbor for a little while. I worked at Rushmeyer's out in Montauk again, going kind of like full circle there. But it was a lot of years of hard work. And then finally, COVID, I think, had a hand. The funny thing about bartending, I don't know how many bartenders are going to be listening to this, but, or the funny thing about the restaurant industry is it's that cash, right? That you walk away at the end of the night with that money in your pocket. You don't have to wait for it. So there's this allure, and it's easy, but in some ways so soul sucking.
Yeah.
But you can very easily justify like, oh, one more shift or just another year. And I can remember when I turned 30, I was like, okay, by the time I'm 32, I won't bartend anymore. And then when I came to 32, I was like, by the time I'm 33, and I kept on pushing it back a year and then another year. And I really believe that when you energetically cut something off, that's when the floodgates open for the next thing to happen. And in such a bizarre roundabout way, COVID, for as nightmare as it was for so many of us, that really, right, it like shut down restaurant businesses, and it gave me the platform to, not even the platform, I started going more full-time towards teaching yoga, and then I never had to pour a drink again.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. That's really so beautifully put too, that when you just energetically, it's right, it's the truth. When you're in a bad relationship, once you get out of it, all of a sudden, right, you meet different people. It's so true in life. But to hear that that's what COVID gave you, and also, though, once again, you took an opportunity that, was a very challenging time for probably all of us, and you turned it into a positive. Can you share like how you responded to COVID? When you say you practiced yoga, you did more than just that.
Well, yeah, I don't know how I just think I got lucky. I don't know, blessed, luck, maybe a little bit of smarts. Prior to COVID happening, I had been reading a lot of books on business and just kind of like trying to get a grip of what was next or how to make things easier. And I remember the importance of an email list, right? I would follow all of these people that spoke about the importance of an email list. And I started collecting emails. I collected emails at Simply Sublime. I collected emails in my yoga classes. And when they shut down the airports, I was one of the last flights to come back into the United States, into JFK from a retreat in Costa Rica. And what an eerie, bizarre thing, right? To be you and just your friends walking through customs at JFK. And I was like, oh, they're serious. Like we were in another country. Like we were like, no toilet paper, whatever. I was like, this is really serious. And then maybe the next day they were like, no public classes. And I was like, oh boy, I better figure out something really quick. I had 2 kids to feed.
Yeah.
So thank God I had an organic market, though. That was also strategic. Yep.
And chicken nuggets, yeah.
Yep. But I quickly figured out how to run a Zoom class, and I jumped on Instagram. I had never liked social media prior to that. I used it so infrequently. I sent out an email to everyone on my email list, like, hey, we're all stuck at home. I'm going to teach a yoga class online, and by donation, pay what you can. If you're worried about work right now, don't pay me, just come and do yoga. We need to be together. And oh my gosh, I had like, I think 50 people the first Zoom class that I did. And then it was a really great online community, and kind of to the point about Simply Sublime, I still have people who will reach out to me, like people in California who I'd never met. Their friend would send them the link, and then they'll come to the studio and be like, oh my God, you got me through COVID. Like, yeah, so COVID was a drag. And even opening up this app to do the podcast gives me like little hints of traumatic, like COVID Zoom times.
Totally. Oh man, COVID Zoom times.
But we really, we moved together, we grew together, we learned together, and we had, we made lemonade out of lemons, which is such like a cheesy cliche,
No,
but really that's what we did.
and meanwhile, how did, so the bars are closed. You can't do that. How about Simply Sublime? What happened with that business during this time?
Also, again, luck, skill, I don't know what it was. We had to close, but we really quickly pivoted and realized, oh, our clients can't, they don't want to go to the grocery store. They can't, the grocery stores are empty. So we offered concierge grocery shopping service and like white glove delivery to people. So it was a very, right, to organize that one as quickly as possible. And the landscape was so that everyone was trying to get as much as they could, so we would be out of things, and you're constantly trying to like fulfill orders with things that you don't have, and dropping stuff off and staying and bleaching the boxes and putting it on the porch and telling them to take it in 3 hours, but everything's been sanitized. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Totally bananas, but you did it and pushed through. And your boys, they weren't in school, right? Through all this, you're also like, you have your sons at home, I imagine.
They
Wow.
were old enough at that time, though. I mean, they were in high school, and
Right.
honest, thank God they were in high school, because I don't think I would have had the patience to
Or the
do that with
time.
younger children.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it must have been so
so
cool. I mean, I just have to like just shout out to you as a mom, because for them to see you doing all of this, just never stopping, like just never stop, just keep going. That's, I'm sure, been very inspiring for them. It's very powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, really special that they have experienced you and continue to as a mom. And we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. This is like, we haven't even gotten to Align yet. I can't. Okay, so you're teaching these online yoga classes. And I imagine, it sounds like if you've got people sharing links to your classes, you're building your community at the same time. So you're even getting more, recognition and more emails. You're still doing Simply Sublime, and then kind of what happens next?
And then what did happen? Oh, so yoga was busy. The world kind of started coming back to normal-ish, but again, the landscape of in-studio fitness, everybody was terrified. Who wants to wear masks? Like, remember all of those crazy times of doing stuff outside in the grass, in the blazing sun. It was like crazy. Everyone was just throwing everything that they had against the wall and hoping that something stuck so that the businesses didn't get shut down.
I remember, sorry, just quick segue. I remember
Yep.
I was in Manhattan, and I was taking a Barry's boot camp class, and they had the instructor in the basement, and like 5 of us were allowed to take class upstairs, socially distanced, but more so. And the instructor was streamed on the monitor in the room. I mean, and we're masked, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot.
the amount
I forgot.
of audio, video, like I have a whole closet of AV stuff that I have no idea how to use, right? The lighting, the like just all the things that you had. I became a yoga teacher because I don't like computers, not because I wanted to learn tech. But then there I was, right? Sending out weekly links to my classes and learning the microphone business and how to make the sound quality better. So yeah, that was crazy. And I really did notice that there was a huge, I don't know what the right word is for it, but things just didn't get put back into place the way that they were before they fell apart in terms of the studio landscape. And, like it was awkward. Some people are scared and get away from me. One person sneezes. So I think communities that had been in place were kind of crumbling. And for someone that loves, like, I do not want to work out at home by myself. I don't. I need someone in a classroom setting, like telling me what to do. Otherwise, I'll do a forward fold and be like, oh, I need a pedicure, and then leave. Right? Or like, look at the dust underneath my couch. Oh my gosh, I better start vacuuming. So there was a big hole in that. And then we lost our lease. That's what happened at Simply Sublime.
Oh.
So the building got sold. Yeah, the building had gotten sold once, and that was kind of a fiasco, renegotiating lease terms and stuff. And the price of everything, as you know, as everyone knows, had gone through the roof, and people didn't want to work. It was really challenging to get workers. So I do think in hindsight, right, you can connect all the dots in hindsight, and that was one of them. It was just we built a great thing, and then it wasn't meant to be there anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So once the building was sold again, the people who purchased it wanted it for themselves. So that was the end. And as we were locking up the doors, I was like, never again with a brick and mortar. And every time I've said never, sure enough, like, oh, my kids, before I had kids, my kids will never do that. Oh, guess what your kids are going to do? That and 20 times worse, right? It's like the instant kiss of death when you're like, never.
It's so true. Uh-huh.
So then this opportunity kind of fell in my lap. But the idea had been tossed around a bit. People would always said to me, why don't you open a studio? Why don't you open a studio? And again, I was like, not brick and mortar. Like, it's the responsibility. You're so tied down. And then this opportunity kind of fell in my lap. Again, hiccups along the way. But there I was, signing a lease for Align Yoga Hamptons. And here we are.
Well, okay, so what year was that?
That was 2020. I opened in 2022. So that was like I want to say February of 2022. Like the idea started to brew late 2021, but we closed Simply Sublime in September of 2021. Mm-hmm. So it was like literally 6 months later that I'm like doing something else.
And now it's just you. Is that correct? There's no partners, no sisters. Just you. And you decide to open Align. Okay, so let's start with a simple. How did you come up with the name Align?
This is this is like a chicken or the egg thing. I have to think about it for a second. So Align, I always liked the idea of alignment-based vinyasa, right? So it's a yoga studio, so where we're positioning our body is super, super important. I don't like things to feel unsafe, so alignment is a pretty hard principle that we try to adhere to. And then I also wanted alignment within the community, because post-COVID, I felt like there was not a lot of alignment within the yoga community, or the communities that had been built were everyone's just unaligned, and I wanted to bring that back into alignment. And then of course alignment with oneself and this aspect of spirituality, alignment with something bigger than all of us.
Yeah.
So, and then conveniently, so my name is Alison, obviously, and someone pointed out to me, they were like, oh, well, Align is so easy to remember because it's ALIGN, but your name is ALISON. So, like, that kind of fits. And I was like, well, that's a little narcissistic, but we'll go with it. And then the logo, which I think is this is a pretty good story. So my logo is Merkaba or Merkaba. It depends on who is saying it. But that means to be, it's from Jewish mysticism, and it means to be a vehicle between this life and the spiritual plane, or between this physical plane and the spiritual plane. And I had seen a psychic, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years ago, like 10 years ago. And there's this woman, she did some crazy, crazy things, but she kept on telling me, they keep showing me a Merkaba. Do you know what that is? A Merkaba. And it always stuck in the back of my mind. I was like, this means nothing to me. This sign means nothing to me. Why do you keep on bringing this up? And then I looked up what it actually was. I was like, oh, that is awesome. And it's an awesome, right? It's an awesome design, and also is like another way of saying that alignment.
Yeah, that is so cool.
So,
oh, what a great story. I love that. Where was this psychic?
She was on Long Island. I think that she moved. I have her number if you want it.
Yeah, sounds great.
She's pretty interesting. I can tell you some good ones about her.
She sounds excellent. So all right, yeah, because the reason why I asked is because I have had moments in your class where I am like, so this is so corny. I can't believe I'm sharing this, but where I'm like, I feel so aligned. Like I feel so aligned right now in every way, physically, spiritually, all of it. And, it really clicked for me. Like what a great name for your studio that is. Because you really live by that. Like that's what's so interesting. It's not just, of course, it sounds like a great yoga studio name, right? Like you could put in ChatGPT, what should I name my yoga studio? I would imagine Align might come up because it makes sense with what you do in yoga, but you really preach it. Like you really preach it in your classes. So nailed it on the studio name. But what is you're now going on, you're 3 years, right? About 3 years. Is that right? Where are we?
3 years. One of the hiccups that we had when we opened was I was supposed to be open for the season of 2022, and we didn't get open. Construction, the whole thing. I didn't get open until August. So this is like going into what would be my 4th year, I guess.
And can you sort of like, do you have a mission with Align? Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you have sort of like a directive at Align Yoga that you live by, or any thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I am, for as much as I get stuff done, I change my mind a little bit, or I come up with a lot of what I think are brilliant ideas, and then I'll start to execute them, or at least look at the plan for executing them, and then a different brilliant idea will pop into my head. So what I'm trying to do right now, first, we always want everyone to feel welcome and safe, and like you are a part of a community, even if you're just coming for the day. We love that fitness be fun and yoga be fun, and I don't know, again, as corny as this sounds, right, or as cliche as this sounds, we really want the world to be a better place. Like when we tell people to have a good day, we freaking mean have a good day. So there has been a lot of I have a lot of people asking, oh, would you open a studio in the city? Will you open a location elsewhere? And I don't know if that's quite something that I'm ready for, but I think I want to start to put together trainings so that other places can have something similar, right? So that there are other people out there kind of like doing what we do.
So tell me about that. The people that you have now on your team, where did they come from? First off, sorry, I jumped ahead. You run the business, correct? So
Yes.
you're behind the scenes running the business, and you don't have a partner, so it's just you. Do you have any outside investors?
Nope. That one's all me too.
Wow. Okay. And how many instructors do you have, or teachers? Sorry, I don't know what the right
Yeah,
term
that's
is.
okay. Instructors, teachers, yeah. In during the season, I want to say I had about maybe 12, 13. So from May until September. And during the rest of the year, a core group of about 8 of us. I would prefer 10 of us. But it's not huge, but it's not tiny either. It's not like I'm just this one woman show. I have this amazing team that I work with, and I never consider them employees, right? I consider us all colleagues because everybody is so amazing at what they do. And again, whether this is like kind of like if you build it, they will come, or if you call it something, it manifests. All of the people that teach for me, with the exception of one of them, one teacher has been there since we opened the doors. Everyone else has kind of just fallen into my lap. And like I've never put an ad in a paper. Every once in a while I'll say, hey, do you know any teachers to someone? But people walk in and they're like, I really think that I should be a part of this. Or they take classes and I'm like, oh, you have really great practice. And they're like, oh, I'm a teacher. I'm like, what do you do on Monday at 9:30? You want to teach a vinyasa class? And there you go. They're on the schedule. Like,
Yeah.
that I love when you don't have to chase, right? When things just align. It's
See?
so dorky.
No, it's not. It's not. It's really incredible. That's beautiful. I love that they just landed there, and I love too that you said that. I've never taken an ad out for instructors, right? Or like I could imagine you probably never. Maybe you have, but it doesn't sound like auditions and all of that are a big part of the process. But I just can't help but ask, like, one thing that's really just amazing to me is you are a master at what you teach. And we've kind of glossed over how you got there. I mean, you've done so many things. You've run the construction business. You got sober. You got divorced. I mean, so much. Then you open and run Simply Sublime. You've got kids. You were still bartending. How did you learn how to teach yoga? When did you have time?
Another pretty good story where things just align. What year is it? It was a while ago. I think I've been a registered yoga teacher for 19 years now, which really makes me
What?
feel old. It's so funny because you're supposed to register with the Yoga Alliance, and you keep your certifications current, whatever. And I had been telling people that I was a yoga teacher for 12 years, and then I went online and I looked at when I first registered with Yoga Alliance, and it was like 2006 or something like that. And I was like, I'm not very good at math, but that was a long time ago.
That's crazy.
So I come from, I have 3 siblings. Well, I have 4 siblings, but I have 3 sisters. And I think we kind of all might put the cart before the horse in a lot of aspects of our lives. And one of my older sisters, bought a yoga studio and was going to open a yoga studio. And I was about 21. We had the construction company. My kids were very, very little. Like maybe I didn't even have my second son yet. And she came to me and she like basically grabbed me by the lapels and was like, girl, I bought a yoga studio and I'm signed up to do this yoga teacher training. And if I don't do the yoga teacher training, I can't open the yoga studio, but we need one more person. Otherwise, they're not going to do the training. I need you to sign up for the training. And I was like, I got you, whatever you need, no problem.
Where was this studio? Was this in Montauk? Sorry to interrupt. Just
The studio that she owned or where we did the training?
She owned the studio.
It was
she
in
owned.
Montauk. It was called Sangha Yoga, which is now, I don't know if it's still a yoga studio. Everything has changed hands so many times out there. So we trained at Mandala in Amagansett, but it was through Sonic Yoga, who this amazing woman, Lauren Hanna, she's like Upper West Side Manhattan, and I did the training. My sister opens the yoga studio, and going back to the addicted drug days, that was when I was addicted to opiates, and I can remember I would take drugs and go and teach a yoga class, and the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, you are so inauthentic. You are such a faker. What are you doing? And like any good drug addict, rather than quitting drugs, I quit teaching yoga. Right? Went down that whole path, very, very circuitous, very dangerous, very bad. Glad that I lived through it. And one day when we had Simply Sublime, someone comes barreling through the door, right? It's an organic, hippie, crunchy market. And someone says, do you know any yoga teachers? And I was like, well, I'm sort of a yoga teacher. And she was like, okay, good. I need you to teach this class today. It's an emergency. Here's the key to the studio, 5 p.m. Please be there. And I'm like, and she hands me the key and was like, I need you to do it, and like leaves. And I was like, okay, I guess I would teach this class. And I hadn't taught in, I don't know, probably like 3 years maybe. And I went, and it was a hit. And then the next thing you know, I had 2 classes on the schedule, then 4 classes on the schedule. So things, again, it's alignment, not chasing, right? Like when you're meant to do something, God, the universe, whoever it is that you believe in, will place it literally in your hands if that's not where you're going yet. So I really believe that I didn't do any of this.
Wow. So, okay, so you were doing Simply Sublime and teaching classes. And so and that was before COVID, right? Yes. So
Right.
did some of those people that took your class in person, were they taking you online during COVID as well? So did you have you already had, okay, so so you already had a little bit of a yoga following.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so then when you opened the studio, right, they must have been psyched. I mean, wait, we didn't even talk about that. How was reception for you when you opened the studio? Like, how did that go?
It was really well received. There was a part of opening. Align, for the most part, is a heated studio. And disclaimer: the first time I ever did hot yoga, I said, "I will never." There, that word is again. I will never do this again. This was a horrible experience. Sure enough.
Brick and mortar, heated. Okay.
Yep. Yep. So, but I had worked in Bridgehampton, and I knew that there wasn't a hot yoga studio between Montauk and Bridgehampton, and people would drive from Montauk to Bridgehampton. So again, kind of another strategic no-brainer. I don't know, I call it luck a little bit. And when I opened, it was because we were supposed to open Memorial Day. There was a lot of anticipation. I put every penny that I had, more than $15,000 this time, but not a lot more than $15,000, on the line at this point. And I was like, it's okay, because you're going to be open for Memorial Day and you're going to make all of that money in the summer and you'll be fine. I didn't take clients that summer I kept my regular clients, but I didn't take any new clients because I thought I would be busy with the studio, and the studio didn't open. And every week, the construction guys were like, almost there. I mean, I tried to hire another construction group to come in and finish it. And then we finally opened the doors July 23rd. So it was almost August, July 23rd of 2022.
I just, I need people to understand Memorial Day is like, there's so much build up to Memorial Day in the Hamptons. So I can only imagine how crushing that was for you to realize that you weren't going to be able to open. But moving forward, you did get to open in that summer. So so
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Just like, how was that
No,
once you were able to finally open and stop, imagine biting your nails? Ay, that must have been
we
really
were
nerve-wracking.
pretty successful. Oh, I mean, talk about hemorrhaging money, and like with no end in sight. And when you don't have money to hemorrhage, it is like. But you know what? I had been broke most of my life anyway, so like, it always works out. So it was like, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't terrible.
Right.
But, so then we finally opened the doors, and we were pretty successful off the bat. The original group of teachers that I had, because I was supposed to open so much earlier and I didn't want to keep these teachers on the line and lose all of this summer money. I was like, guys, I totally get it. You have to go and work elsewhere. Like, please go. I'm so sorry. Don't have everything be contingent on our doors opening, because I have no clue what's going on right now. So some of the classes, a lot of the classes were my people that I had brought from other studios. And so my classes were really busy. And then getting people to try out other teachers' classes, that proved a little bit challenging in the beginning. The teachers at Align, all of them are better instructors than I am. I say that like they would not be there if I did not believe that they are amazing. And I was like, I just need a way for people to trust that, right? To like get in there, because otherwise I'm stuck supporting this whole thing.
Right.
And I took another little bit of a leap. I traveled a little bit that winter, and when I got taken off the schedule and I took myself off the schedule for travel, it forced people into the other teachers' classes, and the students, the clients found or saw their brilliance. I mean, they are brilliant. They are such good instructors. So then it was good. You know, it has its ups and downs. It's like, especially for people who aren't familiar with the Hamptons, like, I know that I'm pretty sure my business is successful, but that stark contrast right after Labor Day, I'm like, oh, is this bankruptcy?
It's shocking. You can go through it. How many times have you been through it? And it's still, every time, it's shocking.
I have done this for 30 something years, whether it was the restaurant business, the food business, right? But
Yeah.
I know I live in a seasonal town. It is still so jarring on the nervous system, but there's that, right? I guess the best predictor is to look at the past. So I know that it will always be okay. And we just kind of keep plugging along, enjoying the space that we have in between mats during the off season.
Right. So when you talk about this training idea for a training program, what are your thoughts there? Like, what do you envision, if anything? If you don't really have a vision, that's cool. But like, I feel like you might have a little bit of a idea formulating there.
I do have a vision. I would like to put together a yoga teacher training, like a 200-hour teacher training. Sadly, yoga has taken a little bit of a backseat to Pilates and Sculpt right now, but it's an ancient practice. It's been around forever, so it will make its comeback, I'm sure. And that is my first love and passion. So that I really feel strongly about. I would also like to put together a Sculpt program, some kind of a Sculpt training, a little bit more, again, alignment based, where not everything has to be like jumping around and so fast. And maybe I'm saying that because I'm now in my 40s. When I was in my 20s, maybe I would have been a little bit, different. I guess, yeah, I used to do some pretty high impact stuff in my 20s. But I love the world that we live in. Everything is so fast and so overwhelmingly so. Like, can we just take a second? So if your brain doesn't operate in that capacity, my class will probably not be for you, because I do move really slowly. I like to feel every second, right? It's like you're in it. You can't distract yourself because we're not going anywhere. So I think that I would lean more towards something of that nature. It's like a little bit of yoga, Pilates with some strength-based moves, like the classes that I teach.
Yeah, and you would do that. Are you thinking you would offer that online or at your studio, or both?
I think I would do the first one just from kind of looking at things. I would probably do it in studio the first go round and see how well received it is, and iron out kinks before you start getting tech involved, just because I teach yoga because I don't like computers, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I would need a good person on the team to help with all of that stuff. And I recognize that it's much easier now than it probably was even 5 years ago.
Right.
But just, I have always said this. This is funny. I just thought of it. When I worked at Cyril's, for those that don't know, super like institution of the Hamptons for a long time. I was a bartender there for 20 years. And people used to say, "Oh, you're such a sales girl." And I was like, I'm not a sales girl. I like to represent products that sell themselves. Sadly, at the time, that was the BBC with the floater, right? But I say that too about anything, right? I'm just the representative. I want, in terms of any like fitness stuff that we're putting together, I'm not going to sell you on it. I want you to be attracted to it. I want to shove it down your throat. I want you to love what we're doing. So that would be my goal for a training program.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear you say that, because it's true. I wouldn't character you as a salesperson, but yet you are super successful at selling. And it seems to be because you position yourself as the front line of really substantial products or services. So it's really interesting that I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, you're not a salesperson. Like I wouldn't, and that's, by the way, that's not a good or a bad thing. It's just not something I would think of when I think of you, yet you are so good at selling. It's funny. And that's because, oh, here we go. She's going to do it. You align yourself with products and services you believe in, even, during the rough times, even when you weren't, perhaps at your highest sense of self, you threw yourself in, from what I'm gathering, you threw yourself into that construction business. You said it yourself. You did what you had to do. You asked the questions when you didn't know. You figured it out. And I mean, that's you were 23. You were 23, right?
Child. When I think about it, an actual child. I mean, my son is that age, and he's an amazing, amazing man, but not so sure.
Yeah, it's funny too to think of how like the journey. You would think a 20-year-old would open a yoga studio and then like do construction later, right? It's like.
Right. I'm like, let me try the hard. Let me go for the grand slam first and then lob it over the plate. Like backward. Everything I've done is backwards.
I mean, I do I tend to get kind of, I tend to be a little tired of the word entrepreneur, because I just find it's been so overused. Like when you watch those horrible dating shows and it will say like Jim, entrepreneur, but not say what they actually do. Right. But, my gosh, if you aren't a real true entrepreneur, I don't know who is. You have always been creating. You have never stopped creating. Like nothing has stopped you from creating, not even addiction. COVID debt, like you have created consistently since the moment that you were free to, which is pretty incredible. It really is. And I'm wondering, like, when you think of yourself and you look at your timeline and you look at the sort of the highs and lows and all of that, what do you feel is sort of like, this is going to sound so strange, but what's your biggest takeaway from the trajectory of your life to this point?
Ooh, wow. Okay. Kind of to your point about starting with the construction company and then having a food business and now having a yoga company. It's so funny how, again, everything aligns. At this stage of my life, I find that when you are chasing something and always wanting more, it doesn't matter. That never stops, right? Mm-hmm. Because you get the next thing and then there's something else shiny and new and you have to chase. And I'm not saying to not have goals and to not want to create, but maybe at this point in my life, happiness or fulfillment comes from subtracting things. And I joke about it all the time when, especially with restaurant industry people, because I'm like, guys, if I had known that a yoga that the t-shirts that you buy, they don't go bad. They can sit on the shelf for 5 years and it doesn't matter. Like having the store, it was such a labor of love, and the order. I mean, it's so much work. You are so married to it, and now it's still work. It is definitely still work, but I've subtracted a lot of things from my life, and I'm trying to even more so kind of narrow that gap between what I have and what I want. Not to make it that I don't have goals, not to make it that I don't strive for more. But the world that we live in, the time that we live in, it's almost as though abundance is accumulation, right? Like how much stuff do I have? This is also funny. I just got a dumpster at my house. And I only moved into this house 3 years ago. My niece is in her 20s. I was like, oh my God, Chelsea, I got a dumpster. And she was like, is this what I have to look forward to in my 40s?
Yes.
Like, girl, you have no idea. And as I am throwing out all of this stuff that I've accumulated, no joke, the Amazon guy is like backing up into my driveway. And I'm like, oh, what a juxtaposition this is, right? So I want to get rid of stuff, but at the same time, I want the stuff. And I'm really trying to work on that right now, like simplicity.
That's more of less. Yeah, that's really good. That's so powerful. And I have a dumpster in our driveway right now.
Oh,
so happy. I'm so happy.
Yes. Right, Kobe.
I mean, even like boxes of letters from when I was in middle school. I mean, I had some fantasy I was going to share that with my daughter someday. Okay, I could save one, right? Yeah,
right.
It is.
Or something really smart is you could just take a picture of them and save them somewhere in a file, right? Like if you ever need to revisit this, then you have them. But honestly, most likely you're not going to.
That was quite a technological solution for somebody who says she's not tech savvy. Hello.
Well, thank you.
That's a good call. Wow, that's really beautiful and so much takeaway in that. And I get the dichotomy, and I get that struggle where it's like, that's beautiful image of the dumpster and the Amazon truck. It's, yeah, I totally get that. Whew, wow, Allison. And, you know, another thing too, just that while you were talking about less, it's also interesting when you think about the whole trajectory and like how I can only imagine the construction business and the amount of overhead that you dealt with dealing with that, right? And then to your point, restaurant, food business, overhead in a different way though. The comptroller and oh my God, all of that. So now, yeah, it's like all these lessons that you've learned to bring them to the forefront to where you are now. It's super powerful. So I have to ask you one last question, Allison.
Okay.
How do you define success?
I love this question. I really love this question. Kind of like that less is more, right? It's not the things that I have and the things that I've accumulated. It's time and good health and not wondering how you're going to put food on the table for your kids and anyone. Like, my heart bleeds for people in addiction and people who struggle financially because I have been there. Like, it gets me emotional. But success is freedom and the health to the good health to enjoy that freedom.
Oof. You got me emotional too. Sorry, we're the time. I laugh when I get emotional, but yeah, success is freedom. Oh my gosh, yeah, wow, you are incredible. I need to know, where can everybody find you? I know obviously your studio, but tell us, where do we find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Align Yoga Hamptons and online at alignyogahamptons.com and on Instagram again at Align Yoga Hamptons and at Alison Burke Yoga. So if anybody wants to find me, that's where I'll be.
So good. Thank you so much for doing this, Alison. As you know, you were definitely a major inspiration behind my wanting to launch this podcast. So I so appreciate you, everything that you do, everything that you represent. Just, you're so in my heart, and success is freedom is wow, super powerful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Marion. And again, to put the alignment thing back out there, you came into the studio one day and other people were supposed to take class and they didn't show up randomly, right? And we were Insta friends, not Instagram friends, but Insta friends. And right?
That's
people
wild. I
come
forgot.
into
That's
your...
right. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
You're not teaching, just me.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I like this lady already.
Good stuff. You're the best. Thank you.